Okay, in today's class, I am going to explain in JavaScript how to display the object properties. Okay, so as I told you that in the previous classes, these all classes are being conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation freely, thrice of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sharply at 8 p.m. in June, okay, meeting. So in JavaScript, today in today's class, we are going to understand how to display object properties. Okay. So for displaying object properties, we need to, first of all, we need to create the object. Okay. Create an object. Okay. That is very important. And then once object is created and that object properties, we need to create the properties also. Okay. Once here, object is person. Okay. I told you that every time in JavaScript, while you want to create object, the constant keyword. We need to use the constant keyword to create the object. Object name, you can keep any name, okay? Here, person is the object name. And then once name kept for the object, so the properties, okay, these are name, age, city. Because object is a person, so every person has some name, age, and where he resides in a city. So these are properties. So every property has a value. So name, his name is John, age 30 years, city, he is living in New York. So these are called property values. Okay. So this is called a key value pair. Okay, key value pair. These are all called object literals. Okay, list of key value pairs, list of key value pairs of an object, they are called object literals. Literals are nothing but the key values, key and value. So how to create the object first? Constant keyword in JavaScript. Name, keep a name for any object, like car is an object, fruit is an object, okay, person is, student is an object, like that. So here person is an object and is equal to, under the curly braces, you need to keep the property and values, properties and their values. They must be separated with the colon. That is very important. And every key value pair must be separated with the comma. That is very important. Huh? So at the last key value pair, no need to keep any comma. Okay. And then once the object is created and its key property values, property and values are mentioned in curly braces, the object must be terminated with the semicolon. That is very important. And then how to display the properties. That is very important, the class. So then you take the let keyword, okay, let keyword and create a variable, okay. Let keyword, I told you that let keyword mostly used in JavaScript to create a variable. So here variable is text is equal. The person dot name means we are mentioning the property. This property name is, it is related to this object person. So person dot name. I told you that in the previous classes, we can call the properties and methods of any object with the object name. So here object name person dot name means we are calling the that object property. Property's name is city plus. Okay. And I want to keep some word space in between them. So that is what double quotes. If you want to display a comma, keep the comma there. Next plus. Plus means concatenation of this will be concatenate with this property with value. Okay. Person dot is plus separation for the separation double quotes plus person dot city and then termination with the semicolon. So now we will practice this code. This is the code of JavaScript code. This code to be kept in where? It is to be kept in scripts. Okay, script elements. Every element has start tag, end tag. Okay. So let us practice this code. let us practice this code. How the code will be, the code, this is the web page, a code created. So here, this is the, I told you that this is the document of HTML document. Under the HTML element, body element, header element, header to element, paragraph element, every line is an element, okay? Every element has start tag and element will be closed with end tag. So it is an element. Paragraph is an element. So here it is started with start tag. It is ended with end tag. Now the code, JavaScript code that is to be kept in script element. So script element started with script start tag and end with end tag. So inside of this, our code is, this is our code. So which is to be displayed on the screen and the web page. Means the property values of the object, they need to be displayed on the web page. So the code that is to be written inside of the script. Okay. I told you that JavaScript is a language mostly used for front-end development. Means whenever you want to develop web pages, that moment what happened, every front-end developer, every front-end web developer, he needs to learn three languages: HTML to create the web page, CSS cascading style sheet to style the web sheet. Means once web page is created with the HTML, then it is to be styled. Means the header to be colored and font, some font size to be given for that font, background color, and header section to be aligned, header section to be colored. So how the web page looks. So that is totally depend upon the coding of CSS, cascading style sheets. Okay. And then JavaScript. So JavaScript, it is used for what purpose? For interactive web pages, dynamic and to create the dynamic and interactive web pages. Interactive web pages means whenever the user who is accessing the web page, whenever he moves the mouse, the web page must respond to user activities. Okay. Whenever he clicks with the mouse button, whenever he types any data that is to be validated. So every action of the user, every action of the user, that web page responds. That is called interactive web page. Okay. Dynamic to create the web page, interactive web pages. JavaScript will be used. So now this is the code. Now the total code, I want to delete the total code and then I will rewrite the code again. Okay. Once we run this code, this is the result we are getting display on the screen. So this JavaScript object, this is a content which is displayed on the web page because we have kept the JavaScript object content. This is the JavaScript object. This is the object, sorry, JavaScript content, which is to be displayed on the screen. We have kept under the header H1. H1 is a header tag. So under this tag, whatever the content we have kept inside of this H1 element, so that will be displayed. Okay. And this is displaying properties, one more content that is to be displayed on the web page. We need to keep this inside of one more H2 tag. These H1, H2 are two elements of heading elements. Next, under the P element has one start tag, one close tag. So ID is equal demo. This is very important. This is what ID attribute has a value. By this ID attribute with this value, the content of the object will be the content of the object. The content of the object will be displayed. What are the content of the object? These are the literals. Okay, these are the property values which will be displayed on the web page. Okay, so here, as I told you, that object is created with the constant keyword. Object name is equal to inside of the curly braces. Object property values have been kept, and then I have created one variable with the let keyword, and all that properties of that object have been called. And now to display on the screen, that is very important, by use this get element by ID method. This is the mostly used HTML method of JavaScript to display, okay, on the screen. And it has a inner HTML, okay, method. By that, whenever we have mentioned here that variable is holding all these properties values, and they will be displayed. So this code is called JavaScript code. This is called two forward slashes to indicate that these are called comment section, single line comment. Huh? So this line of code will not be read by your browser. Okay, this total code will be read by the browser. So now let us, I want to erase this total codes. Okay. Bus. I have erased. Now you run, nothing is there. So in this section, I will write the code. In this section, you will get the result. So this is called web editor, online web editor, so that you can write the code here. Firstly, you can write the code and you can check back that code result. No need to install any other software, whatever that application programs. This is the online web editor. Okay, you read the code from here like this. You try to understand. This is the topic: how to display the object properties in JavaScript. So the properties of an object can be added in a string. So properties, their values. This is the name is a property. Its value added in a string. I told you that in JavaScript, string must be represented in double quotation marks. So like this, we need to write the code again. First of all, you need to write, that is what, doc type. That is very important. So before this exclamation mark, don't forget to write the exclamation mark here. Okay. Now, and then after, give a space, HTML, close this. Now come down, keep HTML. Okay. Element. This is the start tag of HTML. Close with HTML. Every element must be closed with end tag. So HTML element started with start tag, closed with end tag. Then after, under the body, that is what body section. Under the body section, whatever the content kept inside of this, okay, that will be displayed on the web page. So under this, whatever the content we will write, that will be displayed on the web page. So under this is called the body section, otherwise body element. The body element has two tags, start tag and end tag. Every element has two tags, start tag, end tag. End tag must be this is there is a difference between body tag, start tag, end tag. End tag always has a forward slash. Okay. Now let us write the code first. First, what I want to display on the screen. That is what, first of all, to represent the header section H1. Okay. Now the section header element has start element, start tag, end tag. So now this is called header element. Every element has start tag, end tag. Inside of this, So inside of this content, whatever the content, display of object properties. This is the topic of class today. Okay. Display of object properties. So this content will be displayed on the screen. Whenever you run the code, this is the display of object properties. Understood that? So now see, if you want to display one more content on the screen, you need to take another section, an element, header element, one more element, take one more element. So how to display? Okay, so close this tag with end tag. Close this element with the end tag. Now click on how to display. Okay. So here H1 small case, capital case, no any issue. While you have started with small case, here if you represent with capital, okay, there is no any problem here. There is no any problem. You have started with small case, the element started with small case, and it is ended with capital. Okay, there's no any issue. So these two are called header elements, okay, which will display the content, whatever the content you have written inside of the elements. Okay. Next is what? One paragraph section that is very important because we need to mention that ID value. By that ID value, your content of JavaScript content will be identified and that will be displayed. Okay. So that is to be represented under P. P is what? P is what? Paragraph section. Huh? Now, see here, inside of this, if you write inside of this, ID is equal to ID attribute demo. I told you that this is very important. Okay. So now what happened? Whenever you run this code, this will be displayed. Why? Because I told you that the content you kept inside of this elements tags that will be displayed. But I want to keep this inside of, not here. Okay. See, whenever I remove this, if I keep this one, it is displaying here. But whenever I remove this ID will be turned into green color. If I remove this, see, it has turned into green color. So it indicates what you know. This indicates what you know. Try to understand. This ID is very important. ID is an attribute. It holds this value. By this value, your that get element by ID method, that is the HTML mostly used JavaScript HTML method, which is to be used to display the properties. Okay. So now let us see. Up to this is the code written here. This is the HTML code. Now I want to create the script, JavaScript code. Every JavaScript code must be kept inside of the script element. Script element has start tag and it has one end tag. Okay. Now come to the point. Now what happened here? This is the script start tag. This is the script end tag. Now this is called one element. So inside of this, your JavaScript code will be created. Your JavaScript code, whatever the object, if you want to create for that object, you want to assign somewhat properties and values and somewhat methods. So whatever. So now comment here. for first of all creation of the object. Because your topic is what? Display of object property. First of all, object. So I need to create the object first. Creation of the object first. That is very important. Huh? So this is called single line comments. So this line of code will not be read by your browser. So this line of code will not be executed. Okay, now come to the next. Now, how to create the object? That's very important. How to create the object? First of all, I told you that in JavaScript, if you want to create any object, first of all, the object will be created with the constant keyword. That is very important. Constant keyword. Then object name. So person is the object. Any one name you need to keep. Either a student is an object, car is an object, fruit is TV is an object. Every human being is an object. Pen is an object. The real world objects. So constant person. Once object is created, now here keep the is equal and then inside of the curly braces. Okay. Keep the curly braces inside of this curly braces. Now what happened? This is called empty object you have created. What is this? Empty object you have created. And this the object to be terminated first. That is very important. Empty object created. So inside of this object, empty object, now we will mention the object literals. Literals are nothing but they are the list of property and its values. Properties and values. So every person has what? Property name. Name is a property and that name has some value. Always name is must be represented in string. So was true. Okay, now what happened? Every key, now it becomes what? One key and value. So it is a pair. So every key value pair must be separated with a comma. Now come down. So this person has one more, let us see one more property. Person has somewhat age. So age is a property. Age, colon. Now age is a number. So no need to mention string. Suppose 34. Now keep a comma. Why? Because every key value pair that is to be separated with the comma. Now come down. Take one more property of that person. Person has date of birth, year. Suppose year, in which year it took birth. Now come down. Here it is also number. No need to mention 1996. Okay. Now here no need to keep the comma here. Why? Because if there is one more property, then you keep comma. Otherwise, if there is no any property, I want to stop for this object, person object, I want to keep only three properties and its values. So no need to keep comma here. So it means what? Your object person is created. Okay. Next come down. So how to display? That is very important. To display the properties of okay. To display the properties of objects. How to? So single line comment. Now come here. First create a variable. So in JavaScript, I told you that every variable will be created with the let keyword. So take a variable name, any variable name, your name, my name, XY. So display is a variable. Now call all the properties of the objects. So how we can call person dot proper, what are the property name? Okay. And now plus y, all properties will be combined. Okay, concatenated. So person dot name. And next word, one more, that is what? Person dot age plus person dot what? Year. So close this within semicolon. So now what happened? Whenever I call this variable, so these total property values will be displayed on the screen. See, if you run this code, if I run this code, this is not displayed because I have not kept this ID is equal demo inside of this paragraph element. So I have kept inside of the paragraph element start tag. That is the difference. Okay. Here I have kept the content inside of the start tag, header element start tag and end tag. Here I have kept this ID attribute and its value only inside of the start paragraph element start tag. Paragraph element start tag. Okay. You need to understand this difference. That is very important. Huh? Now, the object is created and its properties, all the properties are assigned to a variable. Now, whenever I want to call these properties simply by call this variable. So the all the property values will be displayed on the screen. So now the code I have written. So in JavaScript, I told you that if you want to display the code, JavaScript code, where on the web page, I told you that one method that is very important method. You need to call that method. Huh? That is very important. So call that method. That is what document dot means that method is part of your JavaScript. So this document is total, this code is called a web page, HTML web page, means one HTML document. So document dot get element by ID method. So inside of this method, now we need to keep this ID. This is very important. Huh? You copy this. Otherwise, you write here ID is equal to demo. That is to be kept in double quotation marks. Very important. Okay, now close this one. Now, this get element by ID method has an attribute that is called inner HTML. So is equal to, we need to call this what this variable, that is very important. Huh? So that variable, whatever the variable, that variable has whatever this the this variable display variable, whatever it is holding, whatever the object property values, they will be displayed. I told you that this is the get element by ID method mostly used in JavaScript to, it is a HTML JavaScript method by this inner HTML attribute that is assigned with a variable display, and the display has all the property values. So they will be displayed. Understood that? That is very important. Huh? So whenever I run this code, see what is happening. Your properties, values, Vasu, 34, but it is looking somewhat awkward. Why? Because why it is looking somewhat awkward? Because here what happened? So it is looking somewhat awkward. Why? Because no, all are mingled here. So now I want to keep somewhat space. So here you do one thing, person.name plus keep some space. Again plus. Now what happened? This space, if you run this code, see somewhat space. If I increase the space, you will get the Vasu. Okay, somewhat space. Again, here keep somewhat space. Keep the plus here again. Now you see what happened. Vasu 34 separated. Vasu is separated, 34. There is somewhat space. If you want to increase here space, here you keep somewhat space here. Okay. But now I want to separate them every property value with a comma. So keep the comma here. Here is a comma. Here is a comma. Now you run this code. So all the property values are separated. So this is the code written here to display the object properties on the screen. Now here two languages I have used. Two languages I have used. One is that HTML code. Every front-end developer, if he wants to become a front-end developer, he must have knowledge of HTML and CSS. CSS for what purpose? Here, I told you that how to use the CSS here. If you want to display this web page color, this font size, header section font size, and the background color of this total web page, and particularly for one header element, header section, if you want to give color, style the color, if you want to give the font size, background color. So that moment, we need to do what? We need to use the CSS here. Okay, that is very important. Huh? So now I want to keep the background of this total web page color. So I need to use the code. I need to use the CSS, cascading style sheet code. So here, now you write the head section. Under the head section. So once head section is started, so head element started with start tag and it is to be closed with the end tag. Okay. Now, so in this line, in this space, we can style the web page. We can style. So here, the CSS code that is to be written inside of the style element. Okay. Once style element started, it is to be terminated with the end tag. So now see here inside of this style element, this element has style tag, start tag, end tag. Inside of this, whatever the code will be I write, okay, whatever the code I write, that will be part of your CSS, cascading style sheet. Here, background color, background hyphen color is equal to blue. Now run this code. I'm not getting anything. So remove this semicolon. So here, so what happened? Whenever so here, whenever I click on here, so this page, I have mentioned the code blue. So, but I'm not getting any blue color. So, what is the mistake I have done here? One is this. we need to keep the colon here, and this is to be terminated with the semicolon. Now you click on this, but you are not getting. So here the mistake is what? We need to write the selector. So this total web page background, I want to style that background color. So I need to keep selector body. That is very important. Huh? By this selector, now what happened? This is called body selector. Selectors are very important in CSS, cascading style sheet coding. Selectors are very important. Here, body is a selector. So this body selector, it selects the web page background. It selects the web page background. Whenever you click on, but still you are not getting, okay, you need to, so means what you know, whenever I click on here, I'm not getting any color of the web page. So problem is what you know, the syntax errors. Okay. As per the syntax, as per the JavaScript, whatever the code syntax is there, you need to, but here I have kept the color in double quotes. Remove this. This is the syntax, what you know, this is the syntax. You are getting the color now. So we need to write the code as per the syntax. That is very important. This is called body selector. By this word, the total body of the web page will be selected. The total body of the web page will be selected. Now you want to change this color as light blue. Okay, you run this, you are getting light blue. If you want to get yellow color, yellow, okay, yellow. You run here, you are getting yellow. If you want to get orange color, change this orange color like this. So this is very important. Huh? Body selector. Now, if you want to color only this header section, now you need to select under this that header H1 selector. By this H1 selector, by this H1 selector, so this is the body selector which will select the total body of the web page. By this H1 selector, only the header of this header. This is the H1. This is the H2. So if you want to style this header only, you need to write the code for that selector, H1 selector. Now under this, if you want to color what? Color, suppose simply color, and then, okay, and then what? Light blue, suppose. Okay. So now this is to be colored. This is to be colored, okay. Now it is colored display of your only D1 H1 header. So here light blue in place of this light blue, if you simply keep blue only, this is the blue. So what happened? Only this H1 section, H1 header, that is colored, styled by CSS under the cascading style sheet. So what happened here? Now this is called H1 selector. To select that particular header section so that it can be styled. This is the body selector which will be used to select the total body of the web page. Now here, what happened? Now I want to style this section, second header element. So here, one more, I need to H2 selector. H2 selector. Under this H2 selector, color, what color? Orange. Otherwise, not orange, green. Okay. Now you run this code, it becomes orange. Okay. So your web page is styled somewhat. Style. Okay. So by knowing of the knowledge, by keeping of knowledge, update of your knowledge with the HTML to create the web page. So suppose that if you want to style the web page, okay, if you want to style the web page, you need to study the CSS cascading style sheet. And why JavaScript? So JavaScript, as I told you that you want to keep your web page interactive, to create the interactive and dynamic web pages, so that any button will be created. Whenever you click on that button, some message will be displayed for user. Every user action, some response you will get from the web page. That's why that is called interactive web page. Means whatever the clicks, whatever the user keeping somewhat actions over that web page, so that web page responds. So that is called dynamic. It's not static. Static is what? These are static. Static means while you are clicking here, nothing is here. While you are, whenever you are clicking, what happened? There's static, nothing, there is no any change. So these are static. If any have change, any animation is there, whenever you click on over a button, somewhat text will be displayed. While you are moving your mouse, some action means that web page responds to your every click of mouse. So dynamic, that is called dynamic, means response is there, not static. So static means if there is no any changement while you are moving your mouse, while you are clicking on the web page, nothing is displayed here. So if anything is displayed for your mouse movement, mouse clicking, so that is called dynamic. Okay. So by creating of a button over here, understood that. So these all classes are being conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation, Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. The classes, foundation classes will be conducted thrice of a week. Okay, thrice of the 3 days of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 080 p.m. 080 p.m. in June. Okay. So I have kept my class, my foundation under the for two forward slash in single line comment. So this line of code will not be read by the browser. So as I promised that until my last breath of life, all the classes, my efforts will be continued, and my coding classes will be conducted through online. Okay, until last breath of life. Okay, already I have completed Python, Java 80%, and then I started the C, C++, and part of front end I started HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So, yeah, anybody is interested, you can come into my classes, join my classroom, and by simply clicking on given Zoom link, and you can learn the programming skills. Okay. So I am not taking any money from all of you. If you are interested, you can join and learn. If you are satisfied with my classes, you can donate to my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. That money can be utilized for Goshala and to give study to those students who are very need somewhat very poor students who are nowadays also in this 2025 era modern world, some villages and some tribal area, the students are being deprived with the education. They are not afford to get the education, so that If I will get somewhat funds and that can be utilized to Goshala and some funds can be utilized to students who are need of education. Okay. So this is my concept and all the classes I will whomever wants to attend my classes, I want to get three promise. One is that you attend my classes freely and you learn the programming skills, no any problem. Whenever you feel that these classes are so worthful to you and you are going somewhere else to Hyderabad, somewhere Chennai to get the knowledge to do the completion of the courses by keeping somewhat your money and you are spending 6 months of time there and almost 1 lakh you are paying for your classes, your rental charges, for your food charges, and for your entertainment, 1 lakh you are spending there. Okay. And once you are attending my classes, if you feel that you are getting satisfied by me, so you want, if you want to donate anything, you donate to my Lakshmana Krishna Foundation. One promise is that. And second one is that whenever you have grown up and you have gotten the chance in any company, like me, you at least you make five students with your knowledge, share your knowledge to make five in your whole life. Myself, I will keep continuous efforts until my last breath of life. But yourself, you at least you try to make five students in your whole life. Third promise, whenever you are doing the service job in any company, every year, at least somewhat amount that is up to depend upon you. Some amount you please donate to my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation every year. Okay. Three promises. I will not charge to anybody, even though once you are attending my classes. Okay. Only three promises I am expecting from all of you. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. My number is 9110398650. If anybody is interested, please make a call to me to attend my classes. I will share the Zoom link to you so that you can come into my classes. Thank you. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.